Oh, okay, a day late, sorry, but let's get cracking. What have I got here? 105 questions, it looks like. And I'm also going to do something I've never done before, and I'm going to answer the Formspring question of the day when I get to the end. It's always listed as the most recent question, so it'll be a surprise when I get to the end. Ha-ha! There we go. Alrighty. Jack RC11 asks, Doc, what's your favorite combination of pizza toppings? Well, pretty much every kind of cheese you can possibly imagine. I love, mozzarella, and I also like ricotta and feta on my pizza. Even cheddar. I basically like what's usually called a white pizza, which is a whole bunch of cheese and no sauce. At Whole Foods, they call it, what do they call it? A snow pizza. Yeah, something like that. If you want the white pizza there, make sure you get the snow pizza, not the margarita pizza, because the latter will contain sauce and the former will not. An anonymous user asks, what's the most romantic thing you've ever done? Oh dear, I got asked this quite a while ago, and I said that I didn't really care to answer the question. I guess I'll answer it now, though. When I was very little, my mom and I did this art project where we cut a nice big white star out of construction paper and glued it onto a blue piece of construction paper, and we hung it in my room. And it was just kind of a neat thing. And the thing was, it was in my room for pretty much all of my life up until I was in my teens. And then I was going out with this girl at the time, and actually fairly late in our relationship, shortly before we broke up. I took the star off of my wall, trimmed it down so that it would fit inside a frame, and had it framed, and I gave it to her. I said some sort of sappy thing like, this star has watched over me, for all of my life, now it can watch over our life, or some such nonsense. But yeah, it meant a lot at the time, but whatevs. Let's move on to something fun. Studley Muffin asks, scenario. You wake up, everything around you is dark, and a light turns on. Tatsudoshi is sleeping right next to you, and Spazzy walks in. What do you say to her? I say, oh, hi, Spazzy. I got him all loosened up for you. Okay. Oh, man, that's bad. I apologize. Okay, no, I really don't. Did another question just come in? It's hard to tell. Because it says I have 106 now. How do I reload this thing? Or maybe I don't. I don't know. Okay, whatevs. I'll figure it out later. ResCloud asks, what kind of music do you listen to? Oh man, I listen to pretty much, I go by the songs themselves rather than the genre. I listen to everything from classical music to classic rock, folk rock, heavy metal, Norwegian death metal. I usually say that my three favorite artists are Ozzy Osbourne, Harry Chapin, and Rush. That kind of gives you a good idea of the spectrum of stuff that I tend to listen to on a regular basis. Zigbar31 asks, how much is it going to take for you to eat deep-fried butter? Dude, I'd eat deep-fried butter for free if someone presented me with some. I would gladly try it. It sounds delicious, actually. Torinoshi12 asks, would you eat someone if they were cooked right? Yeah, sure, absolutely. As long as I could be guaranteed that I wouldn't get arrested for it. Sure. Damn it, Christian asks, what was the first game you bought for yourself? Whether you saved your allowance, used gift money, or used your paycheck. It was an Atari 2600 game, for sure. Give me a moment to think about that, actually. I could actually picture the evening. I could picture it happening. Oh God. I think I know what it was. I think it was E.T. for the Atari 2600. I swear to God, I think that was the first game I purchased with my own money. Oh Lord. Toyodoshi12 asks, E equals MC, old people burning. Fire in a nursing home divided. The number of old farts burned is directly proportional to the amount of kerosene used and the happiness in the world. That's not a question, you silly. Toyodoshi12 asks, I've gone mad. Yes, based on that last question, you certainly have. Alrighty. Jack RC11 asks, you have to choose one way to die from these options. 1. Smell a corn fart. 2. Have cold sit on you. 3. Look at Nether. 4. Spend a minute in a room with a bottomless phantom savage on crack. 5. Get herpetitis. Not herpes or hepatitis, herpetitis. Okay, well, let's see here. I've smelled corn's farts and lived to tell the tale. Cold is about my size, or possibly even a little smaller, so him sitting on me probably wouldn't kill me. I've seen what Nether looks like, and it didn't kill me. Bottomless Phantom Savage, no comment, so I guess herpetitis, because it sounds kind of like herp. Jack RC11 asks, do you like lollipops, with lolly in quotation marks, Budum Crash? Oh, you silly, I see what you did there, Oh man, I'm so full of gas. I'm trying really hard to hold it in, but if I end up belching during this, man, I really do apologize, and I think a little burple just snuck out there. I guess Just Call Me Luke asked this question, even though it's anonymous. Hey Doc, my YT username is Just Call Me Luke. I was the one who praised your work and hope to see more LPs on the previous Q&A, LOL. Anyway, this time I wanted to know, what are your favorite game consoles and why? Well, thank you for the praise. Favorite game consoles will be the Atari 2600, because it's what I grew up with. I have a whole shitload of games for it, and I have a lot of respect for it. There's some really great shit on there. Pretty much the consoles I grew up with, I would say. The Atari 2600, the NES, and the Sega Genesis. Maybe a little bit of love for the Super Nintendo, of course, but just the three that pretty much constituted my youth. Yeah, there we go. Endless War asks, did you ever make a purchase that made you think, why did I buy this? And sometime you almost can't do without. I don't really understand the second part, I apologize for that, but yeah, I make purchases like that all the time. Like this morning on my way to work, I purchased a huge-ass bag of Cheetos, and as soon as I got to work, I'm like, oh, why the hell did I buy this? I'm just going to eat the whole thing in 5 minutes and get sick. So I proceeded to eat the whole thing in 5 minutes and got sick. Pooh. Jack RC11 asks, Doc, have you seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off? If not, what is wrong with you? Go watch it now, or I will set a kitty on fire and show it to Korn. Of course I've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you silly. It's an excellent movie. Ha! And an anonymous user asks, you are locked in a black room with a light coming from the ceiling. Inside the room is you, a dragon, a ninja, a lolly, and a nuclear bomb. You have the ability to combine two of these objects and escape. What do you do? Also, yes, you can take the lolly with you. Oh, okay, that makes it interesting. So I'm trapped. I take the dragon and the lolly, when basically me and the lolly just climb onto the dragon's back and we fly out, because it's a very nice, kind, awesome dragon. Like a sweetheart of a dragon. You never said it wasn't. Oh dear, Fire Knight Razor asks, a unicorn comes and gives you 50 gallons of glowing rainbow ice cream. Do you eat it all or give it to someone else? If you eat it, do you have it tested? Yeah, I have it tested by having one of my friends try it first, and if they don't die and if their dick doesn't fall off, I share it with all my friends, because I'm awesome like that, yes. Fire Knight Razor asks again, how was that hurricane simulator? Well, I take it that you saw the video, and it was pretty much how it looked. It was, what was it, like 78 mile per hour winds inside that little chamber. It was wild. It basically felt like someone was blowing a hairdryer on me, except even more so. At times, I thought I was going to lose my breath. It was almost a little scary, but not too much. Mostly fun. Tons of fun, actually. Miss Strange, he asks, can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up your day? Oh no. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up your day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunlight, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times and they will come back again. When the sun goes down, etc., etc. Yes, Sonic R. I love the music of Sonic R, and I haven't said that. But Strange, he asks, do you play Team Fortress 2, and if so, what is your opinion of it? I have Team Fortress 2, I actually bought it back when it cost money. I don't actually play it, because it's really not my kind of game, but I like the characters from it, and I like crafting things, and I pretty much like everything about Team Fortress 2 except actually playing it, which is very strange, I know. Strange, he asks, As you seemingly like Diablo, did you play the unofficial expansion to the first game by Sierra, Hellfire? In my opinion, it made the game a lot better. Actually, never played Hellfire. It added a class, I know that much, and it actually added another class which you could get to by messing around with the config files. No, I never played Hellfire. I know. Burton Norris asks, if you could do one thing to me right now, what would it be and why? I would turn you into gold. And why? Because if I turn you into gold, that means I have the ability to turn things into gold. So I would then go around turning things into gold. And then, since I'm nice, I would turn you back into a person again. There we go. The Deleted Boss asks, is there currently a definition of the word docgasm? And if there isn't, can it now be referred to as, you know what, it has your name in it, so I'll let you and your internet friends sort this one out. That's a good idea. What is a docgasm? That's something we're going to have to figure out. If anyone has any ideas, feel free to leave them as a comment to this video. And I'm not just doing that to get comments. You can also post them to me on Twitter or leave a message on my cell phone or something. Drewski asks, who is your favorite rival in Pokemon? Let me think about that for a minute. I'll tell you who it's not. It's not the douchebag from Gold, Silver, and Crystal, because he's a cunt. I think I'm gonna have to go with Blue, because he's awesome, and he just is has the best, attitude problem and stuff. Generation 3's rival was they were more of a friendly rival, and that was cool and nice and fun and stuff, but Blue was just such a badass. Yeah. Drewski asks, I went to go to the zoo. I wanted to see the old Blue. The old Blue was dead, and the new Blue, they said, was all too new a Blue to view. Haha, did you just come up with that randomly, or is that based on something? It's actually, you didn't get it quite right. It's a somewhat famous limerick. Allow me to say it again, and then I'll say it more slowly and spell things out. One day I went to the zoo, for I wanted to see the old new. The old new was dead, and the new, they said, was too new a new to view. Okay, one day I went to the zoo, for I wanted to see the old new. GNU, new, the animal. The old new was dead, GNU again, and the new, they said, NEWGNU, was too new a new to view. Too NEWGNU to view. The more you know, yeah. Drewski asks, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. In very early Formspring episodes, you got a spam question, didn't answer it, and blocked the user. If you remember what they said, I want to hear them because I hate mysteries. And if you don't want to, really don't, here's a cookie for the memory. Yeah, actually, the person basically just said something along the lines of, hey, I remember seeing you on the chat last night. Come see my nude pictures at, and it gave a URL. It was nothing exciting. Oh well. An anonymous user asks, which villain has the best laugh? It could be a cartoon, anime, game, or movie villain. It has to be Kefka from Final Fantasy VI. That laugh, I'm not even going to try to do it. It's just perfect. The perfect villain laugh. And an anonymous user asks, how many computers do you have in your computer museum? Let me think about that for a minute. 1, 2, 3. 13. There we go, yes, 13. They don't all have monitors, and right now I honestly don't know if any of them are in working order. I know 2 of them work, definitely, because I used them recently. But the other 11, all bets are off. An anonymous user asks, ever found an enemy in a game that has your real first name? Well, my real first name is Chris. I don't remember there being a villain named Chris in a game. The only Chris I can think of off the top of my head is Chris from Shining Force 1. Of course, that's a female Chris, and she spells her name Khris. She's kind of like a furry type person. She kind of has the head of a deer. She's a healer, but her attack stat is higher than most healers, so she can be a pretty decent fighter, too. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. Well, anonymous user asks, a lolly zombie jumps at you. What do? Hug it, feed it, or take it home as a pet? I do all three at all times. Ms. Fuzzbottom asks, what's your score on the game you're playing at this very moment? Game I'm playing at this very moment? What do you mean? The only thing I'm really playing right now is Final Fantasy on the, on the iOS, on my trips back and forth to work. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy. I've got a party of 4 masters, you know, the evolved form of Black Belt, and they're all around level 45. I really gotta grind the ever-living fuck out of them if I want to do the bonus dungeons, though, because I know that Omega will just rape them. Pooh. Roleplay Humor asks, who is your daddy, and what does he do? Well, my dad's name is David, or Dave, and what does he do? He's retired! Roleplay Humor asks, I've made a Super Mario World hack before, but those are boring. What program can I use to make a Mario Brothers 3 ROM hack? I think it's called Mario Improvement. I haven't done too much research into it. No, actually, I think there's 2 separate programs for hacking Mario 3. Yeah. One of them is to hack the maps, you know, the overhead maps, and one of them is to hack the levels. I think at least one of those 2 is called Mario Improvement, although actually that's not strictly true. I think they're working on a project to combine the 2 into one Uber program. Yeah. Roleplay Humor asks, what is your favorite decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, or even further back than that? I'd have to say 80s. It's the decade I grew up in and stuff. Yeah. Roleplay Humor asks, last questions, what are your feelings on the band Nirvana? They are/were one of my favorite bands, but from what I've heard, people either love them or think they were overrated, and I guess I can understand either feeling. I loved Nirvana, still do. Think they were one of the greatest bands of my generation, and I still remember where I was when I learned that Kurt Cobain had taken his own life. Yeah. I think that if Kurt Cobain were still around, music would be different nowadays, but that's all I got to say on that. And anonymous user asks, what is your honest opinion on the Resident Evil games? By that I mean the one that are mainly part of the story. Never got into them, sorry. Not my cup of tea. Anonymous user asks, porn, yes? No? Monkey with a banana? Yes, I do love porn, but not with monkeys, and maybe with bananas, but definitely not with a monkey with a banana. Storm asks, would you pull a Futurama and place yourself in cryogenic sleep to wake up many years in the future, or would you rather live out your life now? I would cheerfully do that as long as my friends and family did it right beside me. Then we could all chillax in the future together. Sorva Spar asks, if you could combine any Falvors into your favorite sort of candy/dessert, what would you make? Something involving cheese and chocolate. Yeah. Something like that. Storm asks, what is your preferred weapon of choice? Knives. Definitely knives. I actually somewhat am a knife collector. I have thousands of dollars worth of knives. Really cool ones and not so cool ones. Big ones, small ones. In fact, I'm looking at one right now. It's actually called the AK-47, and yes, it's named after the gun of the same name, and it looks kind of similar to one. The stock, anyway. Moving right along. Storm asks, is there a story as to how you got your real first name? Not really. When my parents knew they were going to have me, they decided on names, and what they finally settled on was that if I was a boy, I was going to be Christopher David, David being my father's name, and if I was a girl, I was going to be Melissa Ann being my mother's name. The more you know. Kovu88 asks, Doc Sigma, have you ever been in trouble with the police? No, I haven't. I've talked to the police many times. I've given statements on things. I've called the police. for various reasons, but I've never been in trouble with them. I've never been arrested or anything like that. An anonymous user asks, why do you do this to yourself? You know, that's a fantastic question. I have no idea. I mostly do it because I know that you guys like it. But deep down, I must like it somewhat too. Seriously, I must. Twilight Prince 6 asks, what kind of drugs have you used? Well, I've taken acetaminophen and codeine. Oh, you mean illegal drugs. Oh. Nothing exciting. Marijuana, nitrites, aka also known as poppers, and that's about it. That kind of stuff doesn't do much for me, to be honest, so I don't think I'll ever have to worry about being a drug abuser, at least not an illegal drug abuser. Kovo88 asks, your background looks really cool. How do I get a cool background such as yours? I made this background myself years ago. This used to be the background on my YouTube channel. Basically, it's a picture of Osaka from Azumanga Daioh, but I inverted the colors and ran it through a tile filter in Photoshop, a seamless tile filter, like, you know, a filter to create a seamless tile background, and that's what came out. Boom. Kovo88 asks, how are you reading all these questions while playing a game, yet you can't look at pictures? Do you write them down, or are you a wizard? I am a wizard. No, I'm not a wizard. They're in separate windows. I have a widescreen monitor. The game is in a little tiny window off on the left, and the questions are in a big window over on the right. Although this is actually getting kind of taxing. I think in the future I might just record the answers separately and just plop them on top of some game footage. We'll have to see about that. And Kovo88 asks, wacky wall walkers, did you have one as a child? Dude, I have one right now. I got one from a vending machine about a couple of years ago, and I threw it at my wall and just left it there, and it now just looks like a big black splotchy slimy mess on my wall because I literally just left it there and never took it down, and it kind of oozed into the wall, got absorbed by the wall. Very freaky and gross. The Risk Breaker asks, if you decide to play a different game during your Formspring, can you please still record and post the rest of Kickle Cubicle? I really enjoyed that game as a kid. Oh, gladly. I'm definitely going to finish Kickle Cubicle during Formspring time. I can't guarantee I'll even attempt the secret levels, because outside of Formspring, I've been able to beat Kickle Cubicle, but I've never been able to beat the secret levels, because there's one level that I just literally cannot figure out how to beat. It's not the case that I know how to beat it, but I'm incapable of doing so. It is the case that I cannot figure out how to beat it, but we'll just have to see what happens. Ba-dum-bum. The Risk Breaker asks, considering every game you've played, RPG, action, FPS, what is your favorite weapon you've gotten to use? Also, what is the weirdest / funniest one you've seen used? Could be another character's weapon. Well, my favorite weapon is the Sword of Gaia, or Gaia Sword. Which one is it? Let me think for a minute. Gaia Sword from Landstalker, because when your special meter is full, it freezes the game and causes a full-screen earthquake that does double damage to everything. I mean, how sick is that? You combine it with a golden statue, which temporarily gives you a permanent special meter, and you can just do earthquakes over and over and over and over again. That's why the last few bosses are so goddamn trivial in that game, if you know what you're doing. The funniest weapon? The funniest weapon would be the cooking knife in Final Fantasy IV. If you complete a really obscure / silly side quest involving Kang and his wife, she gives you a knife or a spoon or something. You can't equip it, but it actually is the most powerful weapon in the game. So if you have the Ninja Edge, throw it at the final boss, it'll do 9,999 points of damage, and I just think that's really cool. Yeah, and really silly. What have I got here? The Risk Breaker asks, I've seen your cool eyewear on multi-purpose and was thinking about getting colored lenses for light reduction / computing. 2 things. What % is the strength of your color? And 2, have you tried other colors, and are there any you'd avoid using? Thanks. Well, I'm glad you asked. It's 50%. The usual percents they offer are 20%, 50%, and 80%. 20% is Just, I don't even know why you'd get 20%. It's barely visible. 50% is what I have, and 80% is pretty much a full-on sunglass. In terms of other colors, I've never tried any other colors. One day, I know I give a lot of reasons why I wear blue glasses, but I guess I never really told how I got into it in the first place. Basically, one day, I realized, you know what, I'm an adult, and I think I want to wear blue glasses, and that's what happened. So yeah. SKU773R asks, would you question a lethal injection? Hell yes, I'd question a lethal injection, especially if I'm the one being injected. The anonymous user asks, what would you rather do, eat a bucket full of worms, or be unable to use a computer for a year? Well, first of all, if the bucket is fairly small, then I'll eat the bucket of worms gladly. But if unable to use a computer only applies to computers and does not apply to things like iPhones, then I'd say unable to use a computer for a year, because I could always use my iPhone. Oh, no, but I can't. If I can't use a computer for a year, then I can't do my job, or pretty much any job in my field, so bring on the worms. An anonymous user asks, has food brought... What? I'm having trouble reading this. Has food brought you more pleasure than a life mate ever will? So far, yes, so far it has. An anonymous user asks, is it a long way to Tipperary? I don't know, I never measured. It's a long way to Tipperary. Bum, ba, bum, 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 ba-dum. The Nards of Doom asks, hey there, Doc, what do you consider the best and worst scary movie? The best would have to be The Shining. It's one of the few movies which genuinely scares me. And it's just really a well-done movie. It's a frickin' masterpiece. The worst scary movie? Pretty much any of the Leprechaun sequels. Especially one of the not one, but two sequels where he goes to, quote, the hood. God, I wish I were making that up. The Nards of Doom asks, hey, Doc, who are your favorite 5 characters from the Capcom universe? Okay, I gotta be very careful here, because I tend to mix up Capcom and Konami, so if I do that, please let me know. Okay. Well, that includes all the Street Fighter games and stuff, so... M. Bison. Beautiful Joe. Sigma, of course. Even though I did not get my name from him. Needleman from Mega Man. And Don Hibiki. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. Peros VI asks, Doc, why you... What? Oh, I see. Doc, why you so awesome? Aw, shucks, you're making me blush. But, years of practice. Yeah, there we go. David Breen asks, hey, Doc, here's a question for you. Have you ever played Tempo or Calibri for the Sega 32X? They are both great games that I highly suggest you try out sometime if you get the chance. Never heard of them? I'll have to check them out. Madak Rua asks, by the way, my name is pronounced Madak Rua. I knew you would mispronounce it, but wanted to see how you would. Also, I wasn't sure if you were joking when you said get in touch, so my email is, and gives email. Okay, what's this about? Oh, I remember. Okay, I'll fire off an email. Cove88 asks, ugh, I forgot, Doc, you can't look at pictures during your Formspring videos. Well, when you're done recording the video, mind taking a look at the pic? Shit, dude, I'm sorry. One of the first things I do before I even start this is I go through and delete all the questions with links. Yeah, I'm kind of a dick like that. Haha. Ryujin Geksho asks, Pokemon or Digimon? Go! I'm a huge Pokemon fan, and I know precisely dick about Digimon. I don't hate Digimon, I just don't know anything about it, so Pokemon. The Fifth Snow asks, is anyone else pissed that Will Fredil, someone will correct me on that, is playing Lion-O in the new Thundercats. Come on, Ron Stoppable as well as the older brother from Boy Meets World? Yeah, he did alright in Batman Beyond, but don't touch classics. I'm sorry, I really don't care. I liked Thundercats when I was young, but I have no interest in the new one. I mean, I didn't like it enough that a reboot matters to me one way or another. Sorry. If a man speaks in the middle of a forest and there's... got a whole bunch in a row from Snow. Yeah. If a man speaks in the middle of a forest and there's no woman around to hear him, is he still wrong? I think I answered this before, but yes, he is still wrong. But the thing is, there would never be a woman in the middle of a forest anyway, because a forest is not a kitchen. Oh, snap, I went there. Oh, these are the questions that you said... whatever. You see Seth Rogen and Megan Fox walk out of a room. When you look in said room, there's only one chair. Do you sniff the seat? Not only do I not sniff the seat, but I friggin' set it on fire. Especially if the seat happened to be upside down at the time, and the legs looked sticky. Anyway, a god sends you into your favorite game show, but to make things interesting, he says, I'll give you 5 Snows to be your guardians. Your choices are 2 and 5 to 34, because 1, 3, and 4 are effing quitters. Who do you choose? Holy shit, I didn't know there were that many of you. Wow, well, I definitely choose you. In fact, I'm going to be boring as hell and go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good lord, there's 34 Snows? What, do you have a website or anything? Wow. How hard would you laugh if I replaced the Predacon activation codes with Sodomize in honor of your greatness? Think about it. Megatron, Sodomize, Waspinator, Sodomize. Oh, dear. I'd be forever grateful, my good man. Forever grateful. I know you probably don't watch or read One Piece, it's true. But if you had the chance to eat a cursed fruit and gain 1 superpower, any power you could imagine, which fruit would you eat in exchange for never being able to swim again? What? Well, if I had to eat a fruit to never be able to swim again, I'd make it the durian, because I would never eat a durian, so therefore I never have to worry about gaining the power to never be able to swim again. Is it bad that the second Snow can drive a Warthog in Halo better than he can a regular car? Well, the same can probably be said about me, even though I've never driven a Warthog. Also, what's Halo? When are you coming to Atlanta so we can pry Nether away from his computer and show you the great food and good times the South has to offer? I'm not 100% sure I'd survive in the South for various reasons. Especially if I was, like, listening to my iPod, listening to, like, some classic Moon Man songs, and then my headphones came unplugged. Actually, no, they might like me down there. They might like Moon Man down there, so never mind. I scratched that. I can't wait. Oh dear, I'm almost afraid to read this one. This sounds really racist. Who am I kidding? Do you ever think Kago will find her Korean groom without him shouting, and these are his exact words, Shing Duck Loey Pong Shotgun Wedding? Oh my god, I think she'll find her Korean groom and then find out that he's gay. I don't know, something like that. Light, dark, water, wood, earth, metal, fire, thunder, air, magma, sand, smoke, and mist. Which one of these would you like to control? Dark. But I must also add that was really, at first I thought you were quoting the introduction to card captors. Rain, wind, shadow, wood, sword, thunder, power, sleep, card, captors of the cloud, expect the unexpected. Now the secrets of the cloud were all a mystery. But when this mighty book was out... Okay. Have you seen the new Thundercats, and if so, which do you like better, the classic one or the new one? I enjoyed the original voice acting just because they were original, not voices I've heard from like 8 other characters. I think I liked the original Thundercats when I was a kid, but it actually doesn't bring back any nostalgia for me, so the new one doesn't do anything for me either. Oh well. An anonymous user asks... Oh dear, I've just been played. Can you please say an anonymous user asks for me? I like the way you always say that. Well, I got some gas coming up right now. So if you'll just give me a second. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's not gas, it's a yawn. Okay. And 3, 2, 1. An anonymous user asks. There you go. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 questions in a row from Pacifist. What is your favorite class on Team Fortress 2? I like the Scout because he's such a stereotypical Boston dude. Well, he really is. That's what like 99% of, mid-20s guys from Boston look like and especially sound like. They really got that down pat. I know it's supposed to be like a stereotype making fun of the Boston accent, but they really got it. Have you ever played any of the Alone in the Dark series of games? Yes, I have. No. Hold on a minute. Hold on just a minute there. No, I haven't. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry. Have you ever watched one of my walkthroughs/LPs? I think so. Nothing comes to mind. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I'll make sure that I'll check it out. An anonymous user asks, a fight that only one may live through. Dark Sigma versus Freddy versus Phantom Savage versus Cruel Carl versus superpowered multi-purpose spam versus Demon Durgan versus Halo fanboys versus Call of Duty fanboys versus random hobos versus Zombie Jesus versus JYB versus the internet. Who would win this fight? No one in the goddamn world. Damn it, Christian asks, for a gift, would you rather get something impersonal but very expensive and shows how much they're willing to give up for you? Or something that has very little monetary value but shows the relationship between you and that person? The latter. Give me something cheap but sweet. Something that shows how much you know me and love me. Thanks. Toridoshi12 asks, if you already have or were to get a 3DS, what games would you get? I don't have a 3DS. Frankly, none of the launch titles are of any interest to me, so get back to me in about a year. Thanks. Madakruda asks, say, what in the world is your background? It sort of looks like white-haired shadow lollies to me, but I could be crazy. You're not crazy. It's actually, I think I actually answered a similar question in this very session, but yeah, it's Osaka from Azumanga Daioh with the colors inverted and run through a seamless tile filter in Photoshop. Yes. KGKG asks, you're granted a choice of 2 powers for your own personal gain. The power of influence or incredible luck. You may choose only one. Don't be stingy on the details. I would choose the power of influence because I personally believe that luck tends to favor the bold, and through the power of influence you could really make your own luck. You can get people to do what you want. You can get whatever you want just by, forcing it out of people if you're influential. I like the idea of having good luck, but like I said, I think luck favors the bold anyway. Madakura asks, you have the choice between having a life of money or a life of love. Which do you choose? Well, oh dear. In all honesty, I'd choose the life of money. Because, love can wait. Drewski asks, what's the most recent movie, video game, or book you did? Oh yeah, just a few days ago I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes in theaters. It was pretty bloody fantastic. Drewski asks, just what kind of doctor are you? I am a nuclear proctologist, so grab your ankles. Drewski asks, bring back cartoons based on video games, yay or nay? I'd say nay. They were never very good. Also, what was your favorite cartoon based on a game, and what game would you turn into a cartoon? My favorite cartoon based on a game, allow me to think about that for a moment. I liked the Super Mario cartoons. Not so much Super Mario World, but the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. I can't talk. The Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoons and the Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3. The Super Mario World ones I didn't care for. Probably because I didn't care too much for Super Mario World itself. I didn't like the whole dinosaur thing. Super Mario World! Need I blast from the past? Ah! I mean, what I mean is I didn't care for the plot. I don't mean I didn't care for the gameplay. It's a bloody brilliant game, don't get me wrong. Okay. Then what game would I turn into a cartoon? Fuck, I'm just gonna close my eyes and move my head around, and the first game I see will be the... Oh! Snake, Rattle, and Roll for the NES. I'm looking down at my collection of games, and there's a misplaced NES game. What are you doing there, Snake, Rattle, and Roll? What are you doing with the Xbox games? You should be over there with the NES games. Oh, well, yeah, Snake, Rattle, and Roll, the cartoon. Haha. Drewski asks, there's a big red button in front of you labeled Do Not Push. Do you push it anyway? Nah, I don't think so. Drewski asks, do you like me or my questions? Sure, buddy. I like you and your questions. Drewski asks, what's your least favorite candy? I can't stand dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. I actually go so far as to love unsweetened chocolate. People don't believe me when I say that, but I do. And my least favorite candy would have to be this... God, they were terrible. For a very brief period of time, Skittles actually came out with chocolate-flavored Skittles. There were like 4 or 5 different shades of brown representing milk chocolate, dark chocolate, etc. And they were all terrible. Ugh. They tasted like a combination of medicine and ass. I'm trying to think if there's anything worse. Oh yeah, when I was little in a store I found this chewing gum called Stimmerol, which was basically a tobacco-flavored chewing gum. At the time I hated it, but to be honest, nowadays if I found it I'd probably freaking love it. Oh well. Drewski asks, by the way, you've been mispronouncing my name all this time. Oh dear, sorry about that. However, I like the way you say Drewski. Also, my dad called me, so by all means, keep at it. Okay! Okay, cool, no problem. Like, is it Drusky then? Okay, Drusky asks, what do you think of Sonic Underground? Also, did I ask you what you thought the worst cartoon based on a video game was? Well, if I did, then I done goofed. If I didn't ask that, then what is the worst VG cartoon? Here's the thing about Sonic Underground. When I first heard about it, I hated the concept, thought it was retarded. Watched an episode of it anyway, fucking hated it. Recently, I got a bunch of DVDs from Tatsudoshi, and one of them contained some episodes of Sonic Underground. And, believe it or not, I actually enjoyed it as a very, very guilty pleasure. I'm like ashamed to say that I enjoyed it for a pure cheese factor, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I non-ironically enjoyed it, and I kind of want to see more of it now, and I feel kind of embarrassed to say that. Oh well. Getting near the end. Storm asks, do you / did you have a good relationship with your parents and siblings? I have a great relationship with my parents. I love them to death. They love me to death. We're a very close family, and we're like friends also. And I don't have any siblings. Tattooed Yoshi asks, is there a movie that you've watched recently that was so bad it was funny? Not recently, no. Sorry, I can't think of anything. Fire Knight Razor asks, you suddenly find out that you're invincible and feel no pain. What is the first dangerous thing that you do? Oh boy, Invincible and feel no pain. That would change my life in so many ways that hundreds of things are going through my mind right now. In all honesty, I don't think I would do anything deadly, like, that would normally result in my death, but instead I would probably do a lot of risky things, like, hang gliding or, jumping from an airplane, like with a parachute, things like that, bungee jumping. Things that are dangerous and scary, not necessarily things that are guaranteed deadly, if that makes sense. I think I'm getting near the end. Oh boy, a bunch of questions that are all from Pacifist. They're all from him until I say otherwise. Ever played any of the Fallout games? Yes, I played the first one and loved it. Ever seen the YouTube user Nintendo Capri Suns videos? And if you have, what did you think of them? That name sounds familiar. I don't think I ever saw any of his videos, though. Wasn't he one of the ones involved in that big scandal or whatever where all the popular LPs are getting their accounts hacked or something like that? That name just... Damn, that name sounds really familiar. Are you planning on seeing the new Final Destination 5 movie? And if you ever were, what would be the main draw that would bring you in to watch it? No, the Final Destination movies have never interested me, and the fact that it's called Final Destination and they're up to 5, I just frankly find baffling. What is the scariest horror movie you have ever seen? I think I answered this before. The Shining! Have any of the Friday the 13th ever scare the living crap out of you? And if so, which ones? Well, I've seen all the Friday the 13th movies, and for the most part, I find them all thoroughly enjoyable. Not so much Jason X, of course, but I don't really find them scary. They're not like... They're gore. They're jump scares. They're not true psychological horror to me. Oh well. What happened to Eureka's Castle? Oh my god, thank you for asking that. I loved that show. Even though I was technically like too old for it, my mother taped it for me every day and I watched it. Eureka, Eureka's Castle. And I think I probably had a crush on Eureka, but anyway. How we doing? Oh god, we're getting there. Kyle Zoku asks, can anyone suggest a good dubbed anime? I need something I can watch/listen to while otherwise occupied, which means I can't be actively reading subtitles. So yeah, any suggestions? The dub of Azumanga Daioh, in my opinion, is actually really good. A lot of people complain that they give Osaka a southern accent instead of, because she has an Osaka accent. And in dubs, that's always translated as either a southern accent or like a Brooklyn accent. But in all honesty, what else are they going to do, And plus, her American accent, her American dub is really a cute voice. They give her a really cute voice. In fact, going off on a little tangent here, but for the Harry Potter books, my entire family, we read them as a family, and what we would do is for each one, I actually read the book out loud to my parents, and we would all sit around and enjoy that together. And when the character Luna Lovegood came around, I gave her an accent like this, and I actually based her accent on Osaka's English accent, her English voice actress from Azumanga Daioh. The more you know. Dark Duck 64 asks, if you're in a blue mood, what do you do to cheer yourself up? Like, curl up in bed with my iPhone and watch funny videos. If the battery's getting low, I have to plug in the iPhone. So that means I can only curl up in one position. But otherwise, I just curl up in bed with my iPhone. Oh yeah. Searching for Riona asks, good news! You're now the star of your very own anime/cartoon show. And better yet, you get to pick any voice actor you want to play as you. Who do you pick and why? Well, nobody really sounds like me. I've been told I have a very unique voice. Give me just a moment. I have no idea, I'm sorry. Maybe somebody out there who knows a lot about voice actors could throw out a suggestion for a voice actor who you think could do my voice. Oh well. And finally, the Formspring question of the day. Yay! What's your most hated chore? Yeah, laundry. God, I hate it. And that wraps it up for this week's Formspring Answers. Feel free to shoot me a question, and as long as it doesn't contain a link and it's not spam, I'll probably answer it. I'll post the link in the description, but http://formspring.me/docsigma is where you want to go. See you next week, folks. Thanks for watching. Cheers!